Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts or story in the comments, and subscribe to our latest stories. Before I start, tell me where you are watching me from. I wonder which cities and towns will join me in this memory that will follow me for years. I never imagined a casual evening chat over the fence with my neighbor could linger in my mind the way it does now. It was one of those late spring nights when the air feels just warm enough to keep the windows open, carrying the scent of blooming lilacs from the garden across the street. I had just finished putting away the dishes, my mind still muddled with the day's errands and small worries, when I heard the familiar creak of the wooden gate opening. "Hey, mind if I borrow some sugar?" His voice called softly, warm and casual, but with that calm undertone that somehow always made me pause. I leaned against the counter and watched him, Jim, my neighbor of nearly 10 years, come into view. He carried that same gentle smile, the one that somehow manages to feel like an invitation and a comfort all at once. "Of course," I said, trying to keep my voice casual, though I could feel a little flutter in my chest, something about the quietness of the evening, the gentle hum of distant traffic, and the way he always seemed to notice the little things. He stepped onto my porch, leaning slightly against the railing, and the scent of his aftershave mingled with the faint smell of jasmine from the flowers by my window. It was comforting, like the familiarity of a favorite song you hadn't listened to in years. "You always have everything ready, don't you?" he said with a half-laugh, half-teasing tone. I smiled, offering him the sugar, but he didn't take it right away. Instead, he leaned a little closer, resting both hands on the railing. "It's been a long week," he said. I guess I just wanted someone to talk to." And there it was, the first crack in his usual composed demeanor. I nodded, inviting him to sit on the steps. We settled into the quiet rhythm of the evening, the only sounds being the distant bark of a dog and the soft whisper of leaves in the wind. I felt a rare calm, a moment where everything felt simple and honest. Then, out of nowhere, he said something that stopped me in my tracks. "You know, I've always admired how you face everything head-on, even when it's hard. Most people don't see that in you, but I do." I blinked, taken aback. It wasn't a confession of love or anything dramatic, it was something quieter, something almost sacred in its sincerity. My hands, still clutching the sugar, felt suddenly too heavy. Thank you," I whispered, unsure how to respond. I could feel my pulse in my ears. He smiled again, that quiet, knowing smile that carried years of shared moments and unspoken understanding. "I mean it," he continued softly. "You've been through so much, and yet, you carry yourself with, well, dignity. It's inspiring." I didn't know what to say. It was such a simple acknowledgement, but it cut deeper than anything I expected. It wasn't flattery, it was recognition. In that moment, I realized that maybe the people around us notice more than we give them credit for, even when we feel invisible or unnoticed. The conversation shifted after that. We talked about our gardens, about the small victories of our day, the mundane things that often pass without notice. And yet, there was a different energy now, a subtle gravity to the air between us. I found myself listening more intently, really listening, and noticing things I had ignored before. The way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, the small gestures that revealed his care, the quiet patience in his tone. At some point, he leaned back, looking up at the sky that had begun to darken into a deep, velvety blue. Stars were starting to appear, timidly at first, then boldly as the night deepened. "I don't say this to everyone," he murmured, almost to himself, "but you have a way of making people feel seen." I felt a lump form in my throat. It was shocking to hear. After all, I've spent so much of my life feeling like I had to be invisible, like my struggles and my small victories didn't matter. And yet, here was someone who had known me in passing, in ordinary, neighborly ways, telling me he saw me. The night stretched on. We shared stories of childhood memories, small regrets, and the occasional embarrassing moment that made us both laugh softly. The words felt like stepping stones, connecting us in ways I hadn't anticipated. I realized that sometimes, emotional honesty doesn't need grand gestures, it just needs a willing ear and a patient heart. When he finally stood to leave, the air felt warmer, heavier with a sense of quiet understanding. "Thanks for letting me share this," he said, almost shyly. I hope we can have more nights like this." I nodded, finding my voice steady, though it felt new. "I'd like that too." And as he walked back to his house, I realized something profound. That one evening, that simple exchange of words, had shifted something inside me. The world hadn't changed, and yet, my perspective had. I felt lighter, more grounded, more open to the connections that I had overlooked. It was unexpected, yes, but deeply moving. Later, I sat on my porch alone, the stars above me, the faint scent of jasmine lingering, thinking about how words can strike like lightning, leaving a mark that hums quietly in your chest. Jim's words weren't dramatic, they weren't world-shattering, but they were a mirror, showing me that I was seen, respected, and appreciated. And that, more than anything, felt like a revelation I would carry with me for years. The night closed around me like a soft blanket, and I smiled to myself, realizing that sometimes, the most shocking moments are not loud or fiery, they are the ones that quietly illuminate the heart. That I never forgot that evening. Every time I think about it, I feel that subtle warmth of connection, the reminder that we can touch lives in ways we don't always anticipate, and that recognition, genuine, heartfelt recognition, has a power that can stay with you forever.